Hi, hazing in sports. Inside the locker room, do male and female intercollegiate sports teams differ in how they initiate new recruits onto their teams? By Terrell Johnson. Many student athletes have experienced negative team initiation activities either in high school and sometimes even before that in middle school. The term that's actually considered as a part of those activities is hazing. Hazing is defined as any activity expected of someone joining a group that humiliates, endangers, abuses, or degrades, regardless of the person's willingness to participate. And keep in mind this definition, we'll refer back to it soon. Introduction continued here. According to Hoover's 1999 NCAA sponsored study, 80% of student athletes representing universities competing in college sports experienced hazing. The comparison between male and females hazing behaviors was conducted in Hoover's 1999 team initiation questionnaire. We will propose doing a 2018 version of that questionnaire to see if the findings that Hoover came up with back then still hold true today. In the literature review here, we'll discuss four things: historical backgrounds of hazing, misleading definitions, alcohol involvement in hazing, hazing perception and prevention. Quick historical backgrounds on hazing. The relationship between hazing and collegiate athletics has been documented in literature dating back to 1927, when three Louisiana State football players gave haircuts to first-year students. In past years, hazing practices were viewed as harmless pranks among young men on college fraternities, but over the years that's changed dramatically as hazing has become a huge issue in collegiate athletics as well. Misleading definitions have led to some student athletes having a misunderstanding of what hazing actually is, according to Aldo Cimino, one of the researchers that I used in terms of researching this proposal. And Cimino does a great job in terms of picking out words that may seem misleading and uses two of the most extensive studies to do that in Hoover and Allen and Madden study in 2008. Cimino uses an example about other on-campus activities that could humiliate, endanger, or degrade college students, such as military live fire exercises, police patrols, bomb disposals, bioterrorism research, etc. Newcomers endangered by these and many other activities are not by default being hazed. And here it just talks about, because these studies are heavily referenced in many other research articles, Cimino highlighting some of these shortcomings in the definition is the reason why research proposals and studies like this are necessary. A huge part of Dr. Hoover's 1999 study is the involvement of alcohol in regards to hazing. Alcohol use is common in nearly all forms of hazing. Many hazing deaths involve alcohol, either because students' judgment is impaired and they make the wrong decisions, or they overdose on alcohol, unfortunately. According to Hoover's 1999 study, women were more likely to actually participate in hazing other than alcohol-related hazing as opposed to other forms of hazing, mainly because males were participating in so many other forms of violent types of hazing, stealing, fighting and abusing, and of course here, a stat that says 32% of male respondents reported being involved in branding, tattooing, or head shaving, as opposed to 24% for females. Some student athletes, for hazing prevention and perception now, some student athletes view hazing as a positive thing. According to a study conducted by Diamond, the true incidence of hazing in sports is unknown because victims don't report the mistreatment and fail to acknowledge it as hazing. That can also relate to alcohol, is because how popular alcohol is on college campuses nowadays. Some student athletes may not view that as hazing, but as opposed to getting to know their new teammates. Allen and Madden also suggest that more student athletes perceive positive rather than negative outcomes of hazing. Of those who did not experience, of those who not label their experiences as hazing, 95% say they did not report the events as hazing to campus officials. And when provided with a list of reasons for not reporting hazing behaviors, 37% say they did not want to get their teammates in trouble. And that's something as a former athlete I can relate to, knowing that even participating in a survey like this, some teammates would view that as snitching or telling on your teammates, which a lot of younger athletes don't want to do because that'll already ruin that camaraderie that you already have with your teammates early on. Dr. Hoover's study surveyed student athletes on positive team initiation activities to replace hazing. Of those activities, for example, 89% of male and female athletes participated in preseason training activities, which is one of the more common, positive team initiation activities. Here's just a little comparison from the NCAA handbook that discusses unacceptable versus acceptable initiation activities. Of course, humiliates and degrades, and some of them promotes respect and dignity, pride and integrity, all those things there. The methodology will be a 2018 team initiation questionnaire that will be conducted at Kent State in March of 2018, conducted by the Kent State Student Athlete Advisory Committee. These student athletes are in charge of showing new recruits around campus, so we thought they'd be perfect for this survey. Of the 250 SAC members, 82 male and female student athletes chosen from a random sample provided by SAC will be invited to participate. The research design is a two-part survey questionnaire that examines instances of hazing among student athletes. One is in the form of a dichotomous scale, where student athletes will be asked if they experience certain certain negative team initiation activities, where part two is in the form of a Likert scale, in which athletes will rank from 1 to 5, whether they agree or disagree of if Hoover's positive initiation activities are actually positive. The study that we will be conducting is comparative to Hoover, and we will use those same questions as well to provide a comparative to see if differences exist based on gender almost 2 decades later. Here's the first questionnaire here, where all the male and female will identify their gender and then answer yes or no whether they've experienced these types of negative team initiation activities and or hazing. And here is more of a Likert scale, where student athletes will determine whether these positive initiation activities used by Hoover in 1999 are still that, based on strongly agree, and all the way through. And here are the references that I used, and that is it. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation today. God bless and Happy New Year.